If you watch the gameplay of Arkham Knight and Gotham Knights side by side, you won't really realize which game is better. But everybody says that Gotham Knights failed. But why? To understand this, we have to go back in time to the very first Arkham game, Arkham Asylum. Arkham Asylum introduced Batman in a dark and gritty tone. The reason why people love this game is because of the fighting style. Every hit had an impact, and with the added block button, it really feels like you're invincible. Fighting multiple goons at once and doing detective work made it feel like you are the Batman. The boss fights were also incredible and so unique. The game improved upon the foundation with Arkham City, where you can now explore this huge city of Gotham. It took those incredible boss fights from the previous game and just expanded upon it. They took that fighting style and just improved upon it. They also added new gadgets and have the system to upgrade your armor. Arkham Origins also came out, which was made by the developers of Gotham Knights, but it followed the footsteps of Arkham City mostly, and there was not a lot of improvements. But the game was further improved in Arkham Knight by pushing the fidelity of graphics. The city looked grittier because of the added rain and the RTX look. They also added a new thing, that is the Batmobile, which every Batman fan wants. With that being said, it also had issues, and that is fighting way too many tanks than it was needed, or the fact that the boss fights in Arkham Knight were literally stupid and not as good as, well, Arkham City or Asylum. But it doesn't change the fact that Arkham Knight was the best looking Batman game, which was improved upon everything great about those games. So for 6 years, players were familiar with the way Batman games are, and these Arkham games set the bar up high. And Warner Brothers had the perfect opportunity to add even more. For example, maybe have Bruce Wayne played in the daytime and at nighttime you be Batman. But instead we got Gotham Knights. The idea here was to make a different kind of Batman game, and that makes sense. For games to be more relevant and unique, you have to experiment with brand new ideas, and that's what Arkham Knight did as well by introducing Batmobile but making a tank mode of Batmobile so that you can fight other tanks. But that was way too much repetitive because you just did so many missions. And Gotham Knights also experimented with the idea, but the major problem with Gotham Knights is whatever they did, it just did not connect with the fans at all and just didn't work. First things first, the fighting seems floaty, meaning that it seems like there is no impact on those punches or kicks. Instead, we see these damage numbers flying in the air along with showing how much health these enemies have. And even though someone can digest these visual choices, but the fighting style itself just felt weak as compared to Arkham games. But why are we comparing with Arkham games when these two are very different? The reason is because that bar of combat was set up high, and Gotham Knights' combat system, that bar is much lower than how it's supposed to be. People are used to that particular type of combat which was perfected in Arkham Knight to a certain extent. Hell, even in Arkham Knight you had Batgirl, Nightwing and Robin, and fighting as them in that game was amazing. But not in here. One can argue that they're not skilled yet and are amateurs, and that's why you have this skill system. The idea is fine, but when you unlock the majority of the skills, the fighting still isn't as impactful as it's supposed to be. It just feels like a step down. But that's not the only thing, because Gotham Knight gives you a bat cycle, which just feels so slow. In Arkham Knight, you could feel the power of the Batmobile. It's strong and it's also fast, but most importantly, it's good to drive it around the city. The bat cycle, however, has no such feeling. It shows these white lines in the corner indicating that you're going fast, but you can easily say that you're not. Not only that, when you call it, it comes out of thin air. That is ridiculous. Look at the way it's done in Arkham Knight or in any game that has a transportation system with a car or an animal. When you call them, they come out from a particular direction, giving you the impression that these things were here just around that corner on the other lane. And that's not all, because everyone's have a way of traveling in the air. But this game also does some weird things with it. Batgirl can glide with a cape and Nightwing uses a glider. Both of these are fine, to be honest, but Robin and Red Hood, they're a bit weird. Robin uses teleportation to travel, which you also have to do within a time limit for some weird reason. And Red Hood, he just jumps in the air. These two methods just didn't make sense at all. And even though they're trying to utilize the Lazarus Pit technology, it just disconnects completely. I don't know why that was used. One idea that they might have succeeded in is the city of Gotham. Yes, in Arkham Games, Gotham City was darker and grittier, but you would never see any kind of civilians in the city. But in Gotham Knights, you can actually see civilians walking around. They are calling you names, some of them support you, some of them hate you. but at the same time, it still feels that it's empty. Let's take an example of Marvel's Spider-Man, which itself has been heavily inspired by Batman Arkham Games. We get to see so many people in the city of New York. Some people are just walking around, some people are driving cars, some people are sitting in benches, roaming around in the park, doing some activity. In general, there are people present in Spider-Man. However, in Gotham, you don't see a lot more. Now, one might argue that there's a lot of crimes happening in the city of Gotham, and that's why people do not come out of their homes. And that is actually pretty much correct. But I still want to see this city being more lively than how it is right now. Well, these are the major reasons why Gotham Knights failed, but there are also things like characters that could have been better, the story that started off very well but lost me midway, and some of the side missions that just are not the greatest. And it also concerns me in general where DC is going in terms of video games, because right now Rocksteady is making Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which is a live service game, and people are not liking what they are seeing, and that's why it has been delayed now. And unfortunately, this is not the only franchise that is in trouble, because Assassin's Creed is going through something much worse. Check this video out to know why Assassin's Creed future is in trouble.